The Dead by James Joyce. This powerful work is the final short story in Joyce's 1914 collection, Dubliners. The play is an adaptation by David Klein. This evening, Gabriel Conroy and his wife Greta are attending the annual family gathering given by Gabriel's two aging relatives, his Aunt Kate and Aunt Julia. It takes place in Dublin, Ireland in 1904 between Christmas and New Year's. Although this story is placed in the past, I think you'll find it relevant to the present day. So let me thank you, and let's begin.
Julia, stop your fretting. You know you can rely on Gabriel.
But where is he? He knows I'm dependent upon him again this year to carve the goose, to make the speech, to do all the things that
To take care of any of the guests who've had too much to drink.
That's right, like Betty Mullins. Oh, I saw him again today. He could hardly even stand up. And with his mother in the same room, too.
You know, she told me he promised to stay sober. She told me he'd taken the pledge.
Taken the pledge? Taken the pledge, indeed. That man has taken the pledge at least 10 times, as far as I know. And he's never once stuck to it. Once a drunk, always a drunk, I say.
Julia, you should be more understanding. After all, Freddie has his good points. He's so warm and open-hearted.
Oh, I suppose you're right, Kate. But you know, I'm just so nervous about Gabriel. I hardly even know what I'm saying.
See, there's nothing to worry about, dear. The snow just delayed them.
Oh.
Good evening, Aunt Kate and Julia.
Oh, thank God you're here. We were so worried about you. But where's Gabriel?
Oh, he's downstairs with Lily in the pantry. Or should I call it the men's cloakroom?
Whatever you like, my dear. You know, we made this room up especially for the ladies.
Oh, how convenient. Oh, don't worry. I stopped a moment and spoke with Mrs. Mullins.
Did she look worried?
A little bit. Freddie must be up to his old tricks.
Like I said, Kate, that man, he's a drunk, always a drunk.
Oh, don't worry about Gabriel. Gabriel will take care of Freddie.
Just like he did last year.
You know, it's such a comfort to have Gabriel here this year. You know, that a man is always so much better at handling these
Emergencies and drunkards.
May I come in? Or is this room off limits to men?
Of course you may come in, dear boy.
Aunt Kate?
Oh.
Dear.
Oh, let me help you.
Thank you, dear.
And how is my favorite nephew?
Just fine. And Happy New Year, one and all.
You know, we were so worried about you, Gabriel. What took you so long?
My wife here took 3 mortal hours to dress herself.
Well then, it was worth it. Greta looks beautiful, as always.
She does indeed look beautiful.
Oh, thank you, dear, for the compliment.
And you, Gabriel, you look so well.
And how proud your mother would have been of you. If only she could have lived to have seen you as a full college professor.
And a book reviewer, too.
Oh, that's overdoing it, Greta. A short review once a week in the Daily Express is nothing to be proud of.
But nevertheless, it is an achievement that most people are not capable of. And then, of course, there's that lovely home of yours in Mottstown, and in such an elegant neighborhood, too.
Oh, yes, Gabriel has so much to be proud of and happy about, too. Hasn't he?
Well, I should be happy, I know, but I don't seem to possess a happy nature.
Oh, you read too many books. They make you brood.
Perhaps you're right. A lack of happiness is the price I pay for intelligence.
You aren't serious, are you? That comment wouldn't do even in one of your book reviews.
Maybe I was only speaking for effect.
Well, my grandmother always told me it's better to speak from the heart.
I know. Your grandmother was famous for her country wisdom.
Gabriel, Greta tells me that you're not going to be taking a cab back to Mottstown this evening.
No, we had quite enough of that last year, hadn't we? Don't you remember, Aunt Kate?
Oh, I do.
The cold Greta got out of it?
No.
Cab windows rattling all the way and the east wind blowing in. Very jolly it was. Greta caught a dreadful cold.
Oh, you're quite right, Gabriel. You know, you can't be too careful.
Well, that's why we've taken a room at a hotel tonight.
Yes, I've taken a room in the Gresham.
Oh, the Gresham.
Hmm.
That's a very elegant hotel.
Ah, it's the very best in Dublin.
Nothing but the best for Greta. And tonight, I'm looking forward to the party and our stay in town. It will be like a miniature vacation, away from the usual routines. The household chores, the children, and preparing papers for my classes.
And grading student papers?
Free, that's how I'll feel, completely free. And I intend to enjoy every moment of my newfound freedom, no matter what happens.
Well, then let's hope that nothing happens to change your mood.
I don't see how it can when I'm in the presence of 3 such charming ladies. And the prospect of staying overnight at the Gresham.
Ah, staying at the Gresham is a very wise idea, Gabriel. But, Greta, what about the children? You're not anxious about them?
Not for one night. Besides, Bessie will look after them.
What a comfort it is to have a servant like that. One that you can fully depend on. Then there's that Lily of ours. You know, I'm not quite sure what she's up to at all lately. She's not the girl that she was.
Well, I meant to tell you that Lily was quite short with me this evening. She almost snapped my head off.
Really? What did she say?
Well, I asked her if she was still in school. "Oh, no, sir," she answered. "I'm done with school this year and more." And then I replied, "Well, I suppose we'll be going to your wedding one of these days with your young man." And she answered me with great bitterness, "All the men are full of chatter and what they can get out of you."
That is very strange. You know that Lily has never given us answers back before. And that's the one thing that I just won't tolerate in a servant. I'm going to have to speak to her about that, Gabriel.
Oh, Aunt Julia, don't say anything about this. Lily's been such a good girl all these times. It'd be petty to say anything.
Are you calling me petty?
Well, not precisely, but admit it, Gabriel. You just don't understand young girls. Their heads are full of, romantic notions and dreams about the ideal man. In time, they'll learn there is no such thing.
Oh, that's a fine thing to say to your husband.
You take everything so personally. I was talking about young girls in general. They're at an age when they're sensitive when you question them about romance and marriage. I know. I was young once myself.
And still are, and still lovely. I suppose you're right about Lily.
Gabriel, how heavily was the snow coming down this evening?
Fairly heavily. And the papers are predicting it will be the heaviest snowfall in years. Rotten weather, I'd call it.
But what would Christmas be without snow? I love snow this time of year. It makes everything look like a picture postcard.
Oh, well, then you agree with Greta. She'd walk home in the snow if she were let. No matter how long she's lived in Dublin, she's still a country girl.
Pay him no mind, Aunt Kate. He's an awful bother and a worrywart about our health. You know, he is so concerned about me and the children that I think sometimes it's a way of controlling us. You know, he has Tom wearing eye shades, green eye shades for his night, to wear at night. And he's even got him on a course of weight training. And Ava, oh, he forces her, literally forces her to eat hot porridge every morning, and the poor child simply hates it. But you'll never guess what he has me wearing now.
Gosh, what was it?
Galoshes. There's the latest. Whenever it's wet underfoot, I must put on my galoshes. He even wanted me to wear them tonight, but I wouldn't.
What are galoshes?
Oh, Julia, goodness me. Don't you know what galoshes are?
No.
You wear them over your boots, isn't it, Greta?
Yes, and we both have a pair of them now. Gabriel says it is the latest rage in Paris, and that everyone is wearing them on the continent.
On the continent?
Happy New Year, everyone. What's this about?
Galoshes. It's the latest rage in Paris, Molly.
Paris? The continent? That's what's wrong with us Irish today. We go elsewhere to solve our problems. How will Ireland ever be independent if we copy what foreigners do?
I see you're in a mood to quarrel, Molly, and to propagandize. We were merely talking about galoshes, and you find something sinister in galoshes, and I just...
Please. It's Christmas. This is not the time to be discussing politics. Besides, Miss Andrews, you and Gabriel, you've got so much in common. After all, you're both teachers and at a major university. So, all of you, let's get up and go into the other room and join our other guests and have some punch, have some lovely dinner and dancing. And Gabriel, please, whatever you do, don't forget to take care of that Freddie Mullins.
We're coming shortly. I want to talk shop with Gabriel for a few minutes about a new reading curriculum. Good. Now that we're gone, we can talk.
About what?
I have a bone to pick with you. Who is GC, the mysterious book reviewer who signs his articles only with his initials?
I must confess, Molly, you found me out. I am that very GC.
Aren't you ashamed of yourself?
Why should I be ashamed of myself?
Well, I'm ashamed of you. Writing for a rag like the Daily Express, everyone knows they're against independence for Ireland. They take the unionist line that England and Ireland should forever stay united.
Molly, don't be so hard on me. I review books once a week, only on Wednesdays. Books on literature, not politics.
Don't tell me literature is above politics.
Let's not quarrel. There's never been anything political in my reviews. My last review was on a volume of Robert Browning's poems.
And it was a fine review. Nevertheless, by appearing in that paper, you indirectly support their politics. Gabriel, you're a traitor.
Traitor? You're going too far.
I was only joking. But to be serious, will you come for an excursion to the Aran Islands this summer? We're going for a whole month. It will be delightful out in the Atlantic. You really should come. Oh, and it would be splendid for Greta too if she'd come. She's from near there. Connaught, isn't she?
Her people are.
You will come, won't you?
Well, the fact is, I've already arranged to go for...
Go where?
Well, you know, every year I arrange for a cycling tour with some fellows.
But where do you go?
Usually to France or Belgium, or perhaps Germany.
And why do you go to France or Belgium instead of visiting your own country?
Well, partly to keep up with the languages and partly for a change.
And haven't you your own language to keep up with?
You mean Gaelic?
No, not Gaelic. We patriots call our language Irish.
Well, if it comes to that, Irish is not my language.
English is for the English, And Irish is for the Irish. That's what we believe.
There you go, turning everything into politics.
It's people like you that make me do it. You know nothing of your own people, your own country.
To tell the truth, I'm sick of my own country. Sick of it.
How can you say that? And why are you so sick of Ireland? And if you're that fed up with your country, why stay here? Why don't you live in France or Belgium or Germany? See that? You have no answer. Admit it, Gabriel. You're a traitor.
Am I all that bad?
Almost. Do you feel above the crowd? Is that it? It doesn't have to be that way. My education is as good as yours. My education is as good as yours. And I don't feel above the masses. I want all my Irish brothers and sisters to live as free individuals in an Ireland that has been liberated from the English.
There you go again, on your soapbox.
I can't help it. I believe in Irish nationalism. We all must support our community and not be like the dead, inactive and uninvolved. We all must support our country for its welfare.
Why?
We owe it to mankind.
Mankind? But what do I owe to myself?
That's your problem. Selfishness. Thinking only of yourself as if you're not part of Ireland. There's no use talking to you. But I still look forward to your after-dinner speech.
Certain that you do. I'll try to meet your expectations. Perhaps we can dance later, a waltz or a quadrille.
Perhaps. Gabriel, no hard feelings.
No hard feelings.
All right. I'll forgive you if you just think about coming with us to Connacht. Let's shake on that. Let's shake.
There you are.
Everybody's been asking for you.
You mean Aunt Kate and Aunt Julia? They want to know where their errand boy is, their paterfamilias, their bouncer, their orator, their carver of the goose. It's the same every year. I'm like a dependable servant.
Whatever happened to your resolution to stay in a good mood?
The truth? The plain reality of my situation. Here I am again at the beck and call of my aunts. I feel like a hired entertainer called on to perform before the vulgarians.
Oh, how can you say that? Your aunts depend on you. They love you. By the way, did you have words with Molly? I saw her in the hallway and she seemed upset.
No words, no. Why, did she say so? There were no words. Only she wanted me to go for a trip to the west of Ireland, and I said I wouldn't.
Oh, Gabriel, let us go. I haven't seen Galway or Connacht in such a long time. Oh, it brings back such happy memories of my grandmother. And your mother.
My mother? Whatever are you talking about?
She called me country cute.
That was only at the beginning of our marriage.
Yes, but still in all, I always felt she thought that you married beneath you. After all, you were the son of T.J. Conroy of the Dublin Dock and Ports Authority. And what was I but a poor country girl who had the gall to marry you? You, with your college degree and a curate, your brother, your cousin, had a wealthy parish.
What brought this on? Mother's been dead
Oh, and she did thank me for nursing her through that last illness. Still, at times, I think maybe she was right that you married beneath you.
I thought those feelings were dead and buried by now.
Oh, most of the time. But they still haunt me at times. Oh, nothing is ever completely dead and buried. Oh, Gabriel, please, let us go this summer with Molly.
You can go if you like.
Oh, there's a nice husband for you.
I've made my plans for the summer, and that's final. Now, I have to make my mind up about tonight's speech. I should call it a dance of death, or perhaps simply a funeral oration.
Whatever do you mean?
It's a joke.
And it's a private one.
Well, I just meant that so many of the guests are so old, this may be the last occasion for them to be together before they expire.
How morbid to think that way.
But true. Now, to return to the speech, I have a few ideas. Hospitality, that unsung virtue of the Irish, even in this thought-tormented age. I want to mention the three graces, of course, mirth, elegance, and beauty.
Of course.
And I don't know whether to include a quotation from Browning. Robert Browning, he's a difficult poet. Perhaps a familiar quotation from Shakespeare would be better.
Whatever you decide would be appropriate.
But if I use the Browning, people might think I was flouting my superior knowledge, and I wouldn't want to feel ridiculous. They might think I was the eternal professor lecturing the recalcitrant students. No, I think I'll stick with Shakespeare. After all, he appealed to the groundlings. And tonight, I have to address the vulgarians.
How can you say that? Where is your Christmas spirit?
Gone, I'm afraid. These parties are a chore for me.
And I always thought you enjoyed your aunt's parties.
I pretend to. But how can I enjoy myself when I have so little in common with the other guests? They're simply not my class of people.
Oh, like me.
Don't be silly. But to return to the speech, should I use the Browning quotation?
Oh, whatever you decide to do, I'm sure your aunts will be pleased.
They are ignorant old ladies.
How can you say that?
It's the truth. Aunt Julia and Aunt Kate have never been anywhere. And what have they done? Taught voice and piano all these years in Dublin? They're mired in the past. And where have they gone? And what do they know about the world at large?
But they do know about their own little world, and that's what counts. And now, I'm afraid that your aunts want you to help with Freddie Mullins. They fear he might make a disturbance.
What? Is he tipsy again? Poor old Freddie. He takes the pledge annually when his mother arrives for her Christmas visit. Every year he breaks his pledge.
And his mother is visibly on edge. Oh, she wouldn't want a scene. I know, I spoke with her briefly.
Well, then you were lucky. I sat next to her last year, and she went on interminably about her daughter's lovely house in Glasgow and the room they had for her facing the garden. And then she went on ad infinitum about her son-in-law and what an excellent fisherman he was, and how when he caught this huge fish, the inn cooked it for them. Oh, how garrulous old women are.
Gabriel! Let's eat now.
Oh, the party passed so quickly. I can hardly believe it.
Everyone had a good time as usual. You and Aunt Julia always give such grand parties.
Ah, with your help, of course. You were wonderful tonight, Gabriel. You did a fine job carving the goose. And your speech, It was excellent, so heartfelt.
Did you really enjoy it? You didn't think it was too sentimental or too difficult to follow, did you?
Oh, not at all. I especially enjoyed the part about the past.
You mean the section that started, "There are always in gatherings such as this, sadder thoughts that will recur to our minds, thoughts of the past, of youth, of changes, of absent faces that we miss here tonight."
Yes, that's the passage. Made me think of your mother and all the others who passed away. Brought tears to my eyes. Do you remember the rest?
Our path through life is strewn with many such sad memories, and were we to brood upon them always, we could not find the strength to go on without living our lives. We have a living duty and living affections that claim, and rightly claim, our strenuous endeavors.
Yes, those are precisely my thoughts. In spite of everything, the living must take care of the living.
Next year I promise to give an even better speech.
Next year? Who knows where I'll be next year? Don't forget, I'm an old woman.
Oh, the wine has made you melancholy.
Melancholy and realistic. Remember, we've been throwing these parties for over 30 years now.
Whatever you say. You played the piano beautifully tonight, with such passion and feeling, like a young maiden.
Ah, flattery. But thank you anyway. And how did you manage to keep Freddie Mullins on such good behaviour? Aunt Julia was so anxious about him earlier this evening.
It wasn't too difficult. I took him into the washroom and had him douse his face with cold water. That seemed to help sober him up.
Oh, I think I hear Aunt Julia saying farewell to Freddie and his mother now. God, I'd hate to imagine what would have happened if you hadn't come tonight. You're a godsend. Thank you so much for all your help. Aunt Julia and I could never have managed without you. You did a fine job. Your mother, dear Ellen, she'd be so proud. And your speech. Sure, you're a born orator.
It's nothing at all.
Ah, that's very modest of you.
Well, then I inherit that characteristic from you, from the modest way you handled your accolades tonight. You sang beautifully, and everyone applauded so vigorously. And Freddie Mullins was so enthusiastic with his praise.
Sure, Freddie, he was still a bit tipsy, wasn't he?
Tipsy or not, your singing was magnificent.
Ah, thank you. 20 years ago, I didn't have a bad voice as voices go. And where is Greta? I saw her at the hallway a moment ago. She said she'd be up shortly.
Lovely party, right? Mm. All the guests have seemed to have long gone. But you and Julia, Aunt Julia, always put on such grand parties. The music was lovely too. Everyone was in such good voice. Who can that be singing?
I believe that's Bartel.
Oh, Gregory, don't you
But that's strange. We asked him earlier in the evening if he'd honour us with the song, but he refused. He said he had a bad cold. But listen, he has such a lovely voice. A pure Irish tenor.
But Greta's on the staircase. She's listening so intently to the music, she seems bewitched. Oh my God, she looks beautiful. Completely transformed.
It's a simple folk tune, isn't it?
Yes. And so sad. Almost like a dirge.
What is it?
If I told you, you might laugh.
Laugh about what?
About what I felt when I saw Greta standing there. I felt that I was young again, and Greta and I were about to leave for our honeymoon, and all the years of our married life seemed to have vanished. We were about to embark on a romantic journey. I can't account for my feelings, and even now I have a heightened sense of well-being. It may be a result of the wine and
the party, and the pleasant festivities. Whatever the cause, keep up the same mood. After all, you and Greta have the evening and night off, and a room at the Gresham.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I keep you waiting?
then it was worth the wait. You look radiant.
Thank you, dear.
I saw you standing on the staircase listening, and you looked so lovely that I wished I were a painter. I would have called the picture distant music.
The song was, I just couldn't tear myself away from the music. And I had to congratulate Mr. Darcy on his singing. It was so hauntingly lovely. I hadn't heard that tune in such a long time. It made me, it brought back so many memories of my youth.
Happy ones, I think. You look so angelic.
The song is called The Loss of Algram. Strange, I'd forgotten the title, and then Mr. Darcy mentioned it. But we really should get started now. Everybody else has left, and I wouldn't want to add out our welcome.
You never could, my dear. And neither could you.
Here's your coat. Let me help you.
I can manage by myself.
Goodness. Something dreadful outside tonight. The snow is so deep.
I read this morning in the newspaper that it's snowing all over Ireland. They said it hasn't snowed like this in 30 years.
And you know, Kate, that it's impossible to get a taxi this time of the evening. You know that Freddie Martin's? He got the very last one, and he had to argue with the driver who kept insisting that the roads were impassable and that only the devil himself was going to be able to pick up passengers this night. Luckily for Freddie, he caught the very last one, and the driver was going in his direction.
Thank heavens. Mrs. Mullins was out of sorts tonight.
But Kate, what's going to happen to Gabriel and to Greta tonight?
What do you mean?
Well, how are they going to get to the Gresham?
We can walk. I'll see to it that Greta takes care. Doesn't she look lovely tonight? She looks the same as the first time I went courting. And Greta loves the snow.
Gabriel, don't you remember last year? Greta caught a terrible cold. I mean, we can't let that happen again. No. Why not just stay here tonight?
Yeah, why not? The room is all ready for you.
But I was so looking forward to staying at the Gresham. It's so elegant and romantic.
Be more gracious, Gabriel. Thank your aunt. Besides, I think I'd rather stay here tonight. I suddenly feel very tired.
We know we can't offer you all of the amenities of the Gresham, but you'll be so much safer here with the family.
Yeah, like I said, the room is all ready for you.
That settles it, doesn't it?
I think it does. I feel so very tired.
Well, thank you for the wonderful party and the hospitality. And once again, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, dear boy.
Happy New Year. And thank you again, Gabriel, for making the party such a success.
And Gabriel, thank you so much for taking care of that Freddie Mullins.
And now, good night. Greta does look tired. The music must have made her sleepy.
I think it did. Good night.
Good night, Greta.
It's been such a long day.
Then you really are tired?
Whatever made you think differently?
Well, I thought you wanted to be alone with me.
Alone with you, Gabriel. The wine must have gone to your head. What are you doing?
Lighting candles. It's so much more romantic. Do you remember the room we had on our honeymoon? And the candlelight?
It's been such a long time ago. I can hardly remember.
Well, maybe we can rekindle those memories now that we're alone and away from our everyday cares.
Not tonight, Gabriel. I'm just very tired.
You haven't caught a chill, have you? Oh, perhaps you should have worn your galoshes after all.
not sick, just tired.
And I feel alive. I haven't felt so alive in years. The morning air, the wine, and even the party has raised my spirits.
I thought you didn't enjoy your aunt's parties.
Well, this year turned out to be different.
Different?
Yes, different. It ended on a high note when I saw you listening on the stairs. I've never seen you look so beautiful before. You were the image of a goddess come down to earth. You looked absolutely ethereal. Here, let me help you.
That's all right. That song, it's called The Lass of Agram. Oh,
You seem 1,000 miles away.
yes, I was thinking of that song. It reminded me of a person who used to sing that song a long time ago in Galway. It was somebody I knew when I was living at my grandmother's.
Someone you were friends with.
It was a young boy I knew. His name was Michael Fury. He used to sing that song. Oh, he was such... I could see his eyes right now. Such eyes he had. Such big, dark eyes. And such an expression in them.
Were you in love with him?
I used to go out walking with him.
Walking? That's a country expression for courting, isn't it?
I think so, at least it was in Galway.
Is that why you wanted to go to Galway with Molly Ivers?
No, what for?
Well, how do I know? To see him, perhaps.
He's dead. He died when he was only 17. Isn't it a terrible thing to die so young as that?
And what did he do?
He worked in the gasworks.
I suppose you were in love with this Michael Fury?
I was very fond of him. It was a long time before I knew you, long before.
Long before you met me?
Yes, long before, almost in another life.
And what did he die of so young, Greta? Consumption, was it?
I think he died for me, that's what I think.
Died for you?
Yes, died for me. Oh, it was in the winter when I was getting ready to go up to Dublin, and oh, he was very sick in his lodgings in Galway and wouldn't be let out.
Well, where was his family?
They were in Uachtarán, and they were notified. Oh, they said he was in decline or something like that. I never knew rightly. Oh, poor fellow. He was very fond of me. He had such a good voice. Such a good voice. He was going to study singing, poor Michael Fury.
Well, and then?
And then, when I was about to leave, I wanted to see him, and they said he was much worse, and I couldn't see him. So I wrote him a letter saying that...
That you loved him?
No. Saying that I was going to Dublin and I would be back in the summer. And then that night, as I was packing to leave, I heard gravel against the window, and I ran downstairs and out into the garden, and there he was, poor fellow, standing there at the end of the gate, shivering.
And did you tell him to go back?
I begged him to go home at once, and I told him he'd catch his death of cold. And he said he didn't didn't want to live. I can see him so plainly now. Oh, oh.
And did he go back home?
Yes, he did. And when I was just a week at the convent, he died. And he was buried in Udarod, where his people come from. Oh, the day they said he had died.
Greta. Greta. Did she tell me all? And here was I in an amorous mood. Amorous, or was it pure lechery? What a dunce I've been. Pride goeth before a fall. All my learning, my superior knowledge, my ego, what a waste. I'm no better than the rest. Soon Aunt Julia will be dead. She looks so pale and ghostly tonight. Will she come back to haunt me? Like the rest of mankind, the wise and the foolish, I too shall perish and become a shade. Perhaps it's better to pass boldly into that other world in the full passion of some glory than to wither and fade dismally with age.
Oh, come to bed. Please come to bed.
She must be dreaming of Michael Fury, her first love.
Come to bed.
Or was he her only love? Well, the newspapers were right. It is snowing. It's snowing all over Ireland. It's falling on every part. Treeless hills, falling softly upon the bog of Allen. And further westward, softly falling upon the dark, mutinous Shannon waves. It's falling too upon every part of the lonely churchyard on the hills where Michael Fury lays buried. Snow is falling faintly across the universe, and faintly falling like the last descent of their end upon all the living and the dead.
Our apologies for the sound. It was a technical problem. We still don't know what it is, but hopefully it'll be resolved in the future. Again, our apologies for the interruptions.
The actors did great.
Our prompter and Bill, who's working through all of this.
Okay,